Would you like the steps to create 2024 to be your most magical year so far, as if by magic? Welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. I am so incredibly grateful that you are here. Thank you so much. So earlier this month, I did a holiday gift for everybody on my email list about the steps, and I have shortened it for the podcast here. If you would like the full version, you can find the link above or below, and you will get the full audio and video. You will also get the energetic exercise that we did at the end. You will also receive the slides. Yes, I put slides together for this. Without further ado, steps to create 2024 to be the most magical year so far. And we always want to put so far at the end because we don't want to say 2024 was the best year and it's 2026 or something like that. So this is truly so far. We're going to create it so far. Now, if you happen to be watching this in 2026 or another year, please know all of this still applies. We just put 2024 because that's the year we're going into. Right now, it is December of 2023. So it's exciting, at least for me, to think about 2024 and the magic we can create. But please know these all work no matter where or when you are. Now, some of you are new here, and I just want to do a quick little introduction of myself. I'm Glenyce Hughes, and I used to have red hair, you can see in that photo, and I have been facilitating people since basically 2002 through my business. I have done so many different things throughout all of those years, but it's all basically been the same theme of assisting people to create a magical life. And I did that because I spent so many years really, I'm going to say suffering. That sounds very dramatic, but really in that energy of it wasn't possible. There was no possibilities. It was just, you're just here and then you die type of thing. And so when I realized that it doesn't have to be that way, and we can choose a magical life, that's what I started facilitating within the business, or started my business to facilitate that for people. And when I say for people, I include myself in that too, because it really is, it's just this huge gift to all of us. Even you sharing, what your asks were, that is such a huge gift also, because it inspires more for me. And then, when I shared mine back, maybe there was some that inspired for you. And so we can really inspire each other to really create the magical lives that are possible. At this point, Rodney and I call him hubby, him and I, we travel the world full time now. We've sold everything pretty much, including our house and everything. Yes, even my swimming pool. But luckily, we go places where there's other swimming pools. So we do this full time to pet and house sit around the world while I continue to run my business also, because it can go anywhere with me, which I'm so grateful for. So we get to snuggle fur babies and laugh a lot and check out cool things. That's one of our favorite things of this. We've been full time now 5 or 6 months, I don't even remember. And we've just been able to find cool things in all the different areas. So we spent the last couple months in the US, and we will actually go back early next year and spend some time in Texas and elsewhere, and then probably head over to Europe and stuff. So things that I like: strong coffee, really, really strong coffee, belly laughing with family and friends, and floating in swimming pools. I dislike long lines, crowds of people, and small talk and icky smells. I have a super sensitive nose. Things you probably didn't need to know about me, but now you do. All right, so now the steps to create, and we're going to talk about each one individually, but I wanted to kind of give you an overview here. Number 1 is ask. Number 2 is action. Most people ignore that one. Number 3 is receive. And number 4 is clarity. Now, I could probably make 400 steps, really. I mean, I'm just kind of touching on the basics today. But if you were to follow these, you would be creating towards the magical life you desire, okay? So we've kept them pretty basic for today, but I don't mean basic in terms of like not much information. I mean basic in terms of we don't need 400 steps. 4 is probably good for us. All right. So let's talk about asking. What are the energies that you would like for 2024? Now, I specifically put energies on here, guys. And if you want to be like writing down notes, or if you want to be writing in the chat, please feel free. You are open to, to utilizing this time that you're here, whether you're watching live or you're listening later or watching later, to actually go through these steps right now. I won't give time to go through, but of course, you know me, I talk a lot, so you're gonna have time. So back to what I was saying. What energies would you like for 2024? I specifically put energies as opposed to what would you like for 2024, because that often trips us up. If we're going to look at next year, again, whatever the year is, and what you would like for it, people go, well, I don't know what I would like. Like, okay, cool, but what are the energies? Now that, at least for me and most of the people that I work with, is a lot easier to tap into. Now, if you know what the energies or what the specifics are, if you have some specifics, please write those down too. Maybe you would like a new career. Write that down. There's nothing wrong with having specifics. It just often is what stops people from asking, because they think they have to have specifics. And I know years ago, I used to do a lot of law of attraction, which is great, but I really misused it in the sense that I thought I had to be like, okay, if I wanted a new car, let's say, I had to figure out exactly what type of car I wanted, what size of tires I wanted, what the sound system should be like. It was crazy what I used to do with that. And what I find just to be so much easier is, what are the energies? Even if, let's say, you would like a new car, what are the energies of that? Oh, spaciousness. For me, when I think of driving, and of course, the last couple of months, we've done a lot of driving, spaciousness. I like to feel spacious in my vehicle. I like to feel safe in my vehicle. I like it to be quiet in my vehicle. And by that, I mean the road noise. So we drive an Audi Q5, and over the past little while, sometimes we've either been in other people's vehicles, or maybe we had a loaner when my car was getting service or something. Whew. Some of those are really noisy on the road. And so for me, these are things that I know. I like the quietness. And so with your specifics, see if there's energies you can list also. If you have no specifics, go straight to the energies. Now, I just put some on here because I know it can, like, when you get that question, what energies would you like in 2024? It can kind of feel like you're a deer in the headlights, like, I don't know. So I put some here. Some of them you might really, really resonate with. Some of them you might not. You might have other ones. That's totally okay. But we want to look at, what are those energies? And then for this, what you could do, as we're going through it right now, if you're choosing to go through the steps with me, is pick one of those energies for the next steps. It'll just be easier for you to keep it to one. But please go through this a few times. You don't have to go through it 100 times if you have 100 energies. But what are the big? You could even do, what are the top 3 after we're done here. But do one right now if you're going through it with me. What's the number 1 energy that you would like for 2021? Yeah. Now, sometimes we have this idea that there's only one. So if we're talking about, I see Susan has here, abundance and joy. So, and I'm talking about, okay, well, just choose one. Abundance and joy often go hand in hand, right? So again, you don't have to just have the one. It just might be easier for the next steps. We're not sure. Maybe the energies are so congruent for you, they go hand in hand, and that's great also. There really is no right or wrong with how you choose the energy you would like. A lot of people, even in the new year, will often identify a word for the year. And you might even, as you're going through this, that might be what popped up for you. Let's say abundance was yours. So then maybe that is your word for 2024. And you could keep that maybe on sticky notes around, or a note on your phone or something, just to kind of keep you in the energy of it, or the remembering of it. Yeah. And then we've got well-being, and then ease with body, and health. Yeah. So what is, if you could pick one energy right now, what is it for 2024 for you? What are you asking for? And sometimes it's the exact opposite of what we're not appreciating in our life right now. That's sometimes the quickest way to find the energy. And that's okay too, guys. You know, some people would say, oh no, I don't want to focus on maybe what we might judge as the negative. And we'd be like, oh no, I don't want to. But what if that's what gets you there? What if you've been really struggling financially in 2023 and you really are tired of that? So then maybe it is, you know, prosperity or abundance or rich or something like that, because you know what you don't like. Please count those, guys. Knowing what we don't like is as valuable as knowing what we would like, and it's energies or specifics or a mix of both. Empowerment we have, balanced health, friendships. That's awesome, guys. All right, so first step, ask. Get what would you like for in this case 2024. Next step is action. Now, I laughed earlier saying this is usually the one that people ignore. And I mean, I can speak for myself. This one for so many years I ignored. Go back to my years within the law of attraction. I really thought if I did the figuring it out, got really specific with the car I wanted, wrote out everything, all the, you know, the tire size and all of that, and then just sat on the couch and hoped and prayed and wished. And it just never worked like that for me, guys. It just didn't. What I found is adding action. So what's required? So if you look at that one energy, so I'm going to use Hannah because she's the last one who posted on the chat here, with friendships, what is required to manifest more friendships? Now there's 3 ways that we can take action, and there's probably more, but these are, I would say, the 3 that work when I look at this, when I look at taking action. There's physical action to take often, there's logical action to take often, there's energetic action to take, and I'm going to say, and I'll speak for myself here, 100% of the time. So I always have an energetic action to take with my asks, and I may have a physical and I may have a logical. And the logical and physical may look the same. They may be the same sort of a thing, and that's totally fine. It's just sometimes they're a little bit different. So I put this example on because in your guys' email responses to me, so many of you were asking for more money or money stuff, or peace with money, abundance, prosperity, all of that. So I used it as an example. So a physical action that you could take, if you would like to feel abundant, physical action that you could take is get clear on the money that you owe and the interest rate of, say, each credit card. So let's say you're not feeling abundant because you have a lot of credit card expenses. Okay, so physical action, get clear on it. You know, I used to, when I had a credit card, lots of them, and line of credits and all of this, I actually had a spreadsheet that I used, and I tracked what the interest rate of each one was, what the limit on each one was, and where I was at it, like how much I had on it, I should say. So I could be very clear on what was actually going on, rather than putting my head in the sand. So physical action could get clear. Logical action could be where you contact the credit card company and discuss lowering your interest rates. Now, physical and logical in this case could be the same, right? That if you're going to contact the credit card company, that's also physical action. So again, physical and logical often work together or very similar, but I do like to separate them. Now then, of course, we're going to add some what we could call it woo-woo to it. For me, the energetic action then is I need to be shifting energetically into that abundance energy. So something that I talk about a lot is familiar energy. So if you have a familiar energy to credit card expenses, credit card debt, that's a familiar energy. And what often it takes to shift a familiar energy is to get more familiar with the energy you would like. And for me, I find the energetic exercises. That's why I talk about them all the time. That's why I do them all the time, because what I'm doing is I'm taking that energy I would like and making it more familiar for me. So this past summer, we sold our home. And so when the lawyer, once all the paperwork and everything was done, then the lawyer put the money into our bank account. And that occurred on I think it was like a Wednesday. And on the Saturday, I went into the bank account. I looked on Wednesday too, and just did a little screenshot, sent it to hubby. It was like, whee! And then just left it. And then on the Saturday, I went into the bank account and it was gone. Yep. Our account was in the minus, which our account has never been in the minus. I've had a lot of credit card stuff, previous to 2014. I used to live off credit cards, all of that. But in terms of bank accounts, never ever had it in the minus. And here, our account was in the minus of these hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And it was a long weekend here in Canada. So I had to wait until Tuesday. It was Saturday. I had to wait until Tuesday before I could talk to the bank. And so what I was so aware of is that on the Wednesday when that money got deposited, it was I'm going to say an unfamiliar energy for me. So then when on Saturday it was gone, that was a familiar energy for me. And I don't mean like the shock of it being gone. That's not familiar to me, but it not being there was more familiar. So I was so aware of that on the Saturday. I mean, I did have actually, I didn't really panic because what I assumed had happened is the bank I should have maybe talked to the bank that this lump sum was coming in. So that's kind of the story I told myself. So then I took those days and just kept doing energetic exercises to be more familiar with the energy of that money in my bank account as opposed to it not being there. And then on Tuesday, what was really funny is when I did talk to the bank, she's like, she's like, I've never seen this before. I don't know what happened. I'm like, you're freaking me out. But anyway, it was all fixed. It was actually a mistake by the bank itself. Anyway, but just an example of familiar energy. So we need to be shifting those energies. And that to me is where the energetic exercises come in. Okay. All right. So that's action. So you might have a physical, you might have a logical, you might have 10 physical actions or 10 logical actions. There's no limit on, it's not like it's just one action. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's more. Sometimes there's no physical or logical. Maybe it is just energetic. And I talk about energetic exercises. Maybe you have your own way. There isn't the energetic exercises are the only way. It's just that's my way. So you might have a different way that you like to do that. But just recognizing that there's going to be action no matter what. There will be action to take for whatever energy that you're asking for, or energies. All right, so then receiving is where awareness, presence, and tenacity come together. So what that means is you need to be aware of where you're blocking receiving and change it. Okay, so this is how we block receiving can be so interesting, and it could be multiple ways. I just jotted a couple things down here. Judging is one of the biggest ways that we block receiving, meaning let's say somebody won the lottery in your town and you start going, well, how come they get to win it and I never win it? Look at them. They don't even need the money. They were born with a, silver spoon in their mouth or whatever, right? We're blocking receiving. What if we could, celebrate their receiving of that? What if that would actually expand us energetically to receive even more? Zoning out is also a really interesting way that we can block receiving. And that could be, let's say somebody says to you, oh my gosh, I really love your dress today. And you're like, oh yeah, thank you. Or, oh yeah, I got it, so-and-so, oh, it was half price, or, where you just zone out. You're not even present with the gift that they're gifting you. Or distracting yourself. It's another way. We can go on, social media of some sort and really stop receiving. And by that, I mean, if we're on social media, let's say you're on TikTok and you're watching some TikToks, you can be doing it from distraction. You could also be doing it from receiving. It's just a different energy. You've just got to be, if you're looking to do it from receiving, get present. Be present while you're there with that. Now, there's nothing wrong, at least the way that I see it, there's nothing wrong with distracting ourselves. I love watching different Netflix things or going on TikTok or social media. It's just, where am I when I'm doing it? Am I blocking receiving, or am I actually enhancing my receiving or building my receiving muscles? Now, ways to change it. If you recognize that you're actually blocking the receiving, then how can you change it? One, my favorite way probably in that moment is drop your walls and barriers and receive it. So yesterday, hubby and I went out to a pet sit that will start on January 3rd, about half an hour from here. And we just went to meet the animals and meet the couple and walk through the house and do those sorts of things. Now, with pet and house sitting, it's been a really interesting adventure because some people who have you come in, the way we do it is through something called trusted house sitters. And so we don't actually get paid. Okay, it is a win-win. We have a place to stay, they have all the things, and we get to, hang out with animals. And they get a win-win because they get to go away knowing that their animals are loved, their home is taken care of, all of that. So for us, it's a win-win. Some people are a little bit different in it, where they might see it as they're doing us a favor. Like, you get to stay at our house, so we're doing you a favor. Luckily, we've had very few of those. Usually they're more this other way, which is, I can't believe you're doing this for us. We are so grateful. Now, that's how we show up. We are so grateful. I can't believe you're sharing your home and your pets with us. So when those two meet, when those two energies meet, it's such a contribution, because both of us are aware it's a win-win and we're both gifting and receiving. Now, yesterday when we got there, it was beyond the win-win in their world. Like, we haven't actually experienced this from anybody yet, where that they're like, okay, so what groceries can we get for you? What can we have here for you so that you're comfortable? Could we get you gift cards? Can we get you blah, 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 blah. And Rodney and I were both in this space of like, oh gosh, no, like the space of not receiving it. Yeah. And it probably took me about 3 minutes to recognize what we were doing, because they were like, so grateful that we would come and stay and love their animals and their home as they do. And they just wanted to gift us and shower us with gifts. And it was so interesting because it's like, all of a sudden I realized, oh, we are blocking this. Okay, so stopped and I just dropped my walls and barriers, and it's an energetic thing for me. I've done it for so many years now that it's quite quick. So if it's new for you, it might take you a little bit longer and you might have to find your way. So for me, I can energetically, I don't even have to close my eyes. I'm doing that right now, but if I'm standing in front of somebody who's offering to leave me gift cards for the grocery store, then I can just have my eyes open, but I can energetically feel or perceive my walls up, and I can just drop them. It's like, if you're visual, you could imagine a bunch of bricks and then crash them down. You could imagine expanding, beyond the walls and barriers, whatever you need to do. But it isn't, for me, it's just an energetic recognition that I'm not receiving, and then shifting it so that I do. And so what I started shifting it to is, every time she kept saying something or he kept saying something like, okay, well, we'll leave you this and we'll go get you this sort of bread and we'll make sure we have this in the fridge. And, I just be like, thank you, that's very kind. And every time I said that, I would expand out further. I would drop and push those barriers even farther, because it was a huge invitation of receiving that was like, wow, was so cool. What was even cooler is that when we left there, we went to a diner and had a meal. And Rodney had ordered soup before his meal. And so when the restaurant owner, we've been in there a few times, this is the first time we ever saw the owner, when she brought him the soup, she looked at me and she's like, would you like some? I can bring you a bowl of soup if you would like. And it was like, and we'd already paid. It's kind of one where you go up at the front, you order first and pay, and then you go sit down. And I was like, and right away I could feel that energy again. I'm like, sure, that would be great. Thank you. And so she brought me soup, and then she brought me extra oh, I can't remember, salad or whatever it was, and it was just like this whole energy of receiving it. Thank you, that's very kind. Thank you, that's very kind. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm not receiving, it gets really wonky in their world too. Same thing for me. If the person who I'm attempting to gift to isn't receiving, it gets wonky in my world. So the more we're willing to receive, the more we're willing to gift and receive, the more ease it is in all of our lives. And then, of course, another one of my favorites, an energetic exercise to shift it. Now, in those moments, standing in front of the house sit that we've got coming up, standing in front of that couple, I'm not going to take I'm not going to take time to go do an energetic exercise. Be like, can I just have a moment? No, I don't do that. So in those moments where it's just like dealing with it in that moment, I'll drop the walls and barriers. But then I haven't actually done it yet, but now I'm going to, now that I remember, or I'm thinking about it. I'm going to do an energetic exercise to really receive for people that would like to gift, and really look at how much farther I can receive it. Like, how much farther can I expand into that? The other thing that I have found really helpful when I'm not receiving is go do something completely different. So let's say you're in judgment. Let's say you're spinning in judgment. Somebody won the lottery and how dare they, and just go do something different. Go take a walk, go phone a friend, go watch some, funny videos, like just go do something physically different to really break that habit almost in that moment. So those are just, again, a few suggestions on how to change when you recognize that you're not receiving. Because really with these spaces, it is this idea that we're asking. So whatever the energy is we're asking for, I'm going to use abundance because I was talking about that. So we're asking for more abundance. Well, in order to have more abundance, or whatever it is you've asked for, there's a level of receiving with that is so huge that this part is certainly important. Yeah. And we will end today with an energetic exercise. So I will walk you through one of those, guys. All right, so clarity, number 4, is basically you're going to look back at steps 1, 2, and 3. You've taken those steps. Now what? Now you need to look at, okay, what is working? What is working with this? So let's say, again, we're talking about abundance, and you've done some energetic exercises around it. You've taken some action. You've talked to the credit card companies, all of that. What is working? Oh, well, maybe the credit card companies did lower the interest. Okay, cool. What isn't working? Maybe you're still putting money on them. Maybe you're still using them. Okay, so then maybe that looks okay. So what actions required there? Maybe you require to cut them up or something like that. Okay, so we got to look at what is working, what isn't working. Sometimes we've got to look at, has our ask changed? So maybe our ask was abundance, and we've talked to the credit card companies and we're doing all the things, but maybe it's like, it's a little bit different now. And so maybe it's something like, I don't know, peace with money. Maybe that more matches the energy of your ask now. Maybe you've got the energy of abundance and now it's about shifting it to something different for you. And then always, 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 are there different actions to take? Because if there are, then you want to be aware of those and be taking those. Now, everybody does this sort of stuff differently. I track everything. I'm a big, big tracker. And I really think that the more we track things, the more that we're going to add magic to it. So, I have spreadsheets about this stuff for myself. I laugh because it sounds so bizarre, I'm sure, to some people, but it's how I track it. What I know for myself is if I don't track it, I'm not going to change it. I'm not actually probably even interested in changing it. I'm just giving lip service. The things that I track are the things that will change. Always, always, always. Because by tracking it, I'm adding awareness. So what I would suggest with something like this, you don't have to be as weird as me with a spreadsheet, but you could use a note on your phone. You could set a reminder every week or every month. I wouldn't do it longer than a month, but weekly might be too much, but once a month, go and check out. Go look at those energies you've been asking for. Look at what the actions you have been taking. Look at the actions you haven't been taking. What's required? Go through these questions. What's working? What isn't? Has the ask changed? Are there different actions to take? Because the other piece with all of this is we often will actualize or manifest our ask. And then guess what? We don't even recognize it because we haven't tracked it. We haven't paid attention. Now, another word for tracking could be presence. We haven't got present with it. Now, for me, the best way, the easiest way to be present with it is to track it. You might have a different way, but just know that if you are doing a little bit of this work and then you just leave it, and then you may be rewatching this in a year, and you haven't done anything with it in between, that's probably not going to work near as well as if you're willing to be present with it. So those are the steps. And I'm just going to go back to the first slide here. So asking, action, receiving, clarity, and then basically repeat, repeat, repeat. And we, of course, are talking about this as creating 2024 to be the most magical year so far, as if by magic, but you could do it for anything. If you want to, if you look at that ask, whether it's like steps to create the abundance you would like, to create the job you would like, to create, whatever it is, these are the steps, no matter what the topic is, these are the steps that you can go through. So once again, if you would like the downloads, the energetic exercise, all of it, you can go to the link above or below. If you don't see a link, just reach out and I will get it for you. Have a great week, sweet friends. I look forward to chatting again soon.